I'm sharing with you a sketchbook I completed a couple years ago on a trip to San Antonio, Texas. I got there with not many art materials, so I just got a pocketbook, sketchbook, and some pens and started drawing some of the landmarks like this, the Alamo, and other little vignettes of the city. But then I decided to do larger scenes like the river walk, and I noticed that cramming in that much information into a small page was not a good idea. So I went on to capture the small vignettes, and I liked how that came out better, especially keeping loose lines and trying to keep the lights alive. I especially like this drawing here because the challenge was to draw that grill, that ironwork grill, which is originally dark, but because the sun was hitting it, it was being illuminated while there was a dark shadow in the alcove. So I had to keep the lines of the grill light and not lose that. I wanted to really capture the form, but do that through the depiction of light, and at the same time not making it blocky and heavy. So the tools I used were a fine tip pen and also a brush tip pen that could get darker areas of tone, and that way I could fill in some shapes to describe the form as well as give some detail. I was pleased with many of the results that came out. I especially like the drawings at night of illuminated structures like this water fountain. Since my value scale was very limited with just the dark and then the brightness of the paper and maybe something in between, I had to be careful. But most of them, I believe, came out nicely. This one is a little bit more heavy-handed, but this one, I really liked how the 3 lit lights are well described, and then one that was actually burnt out is in shadow. The staircase also suggests the form of the steps without being heavy-handed by only using the shadow as the descriptor. The city is full of amazing architecture, Spanish-influenced architecture, and I felt a bit at home because it harkened back to some of the Portuguese or Brazilian architecture that I grew up with. I especially like this door, which is the door to the Alamo, and capturing the intricacies of all those weathered ornaments was really enthralling. The trees there also, the gnarly aspects of their trunks were perfect to be drawn using hatching and a fine tip pen. And also all the vintage signage everywhere in the city just made it a great place to get inspiration from, and great subject matter. Even a little cornice from a hotel will become a nice study on architecture, trying to capture that sunlight and also the form. I really like this drawing of the Alamo. We have a tendency in pen to overwork details, but by making things open and having very specific, accurate marks, you can show detail, and you don't have to go as detailed as in this detailed shot, but you still have the sense of the place, of the structure, of the light. I attempted to do some of the vegetation there, the tropical vegetation in the river walk, but I'm still ambivalent about that one. And I got a scene in the restaurant of a guy sitting in a bar, but again, I think the architectural studies were more interesting, especially like this little vignette, because there's a balcony with a walled-in door. It seemed original, so it's probably a balcony to nowhere. The variety of old architecture there is ample ground for an artist. I really like that little window there and how I was able to depict that. And everything there looks nicely. You have from Romanesque to Gothic to Islamic inspired. It's amazing, the variety in that city specifically. I love doing these studies because it forces me to slow down and really observe what's around me, see each little detail that went in constructing buildings and making a place be a place. This drawing, I think, was really successful in in keeping the light and being able to describe those deep, narrow windows with the darks, with the solid blocks. This clock I'm not too enamored by. I think I went too descriptive, as well as this bell tower. Tell me what you think. Which one was your favorite? Write it down in the comments. I'd love to see that. But overall, I really like how this sketchbook came out.